It's funny. The smallest, most overlooked moments in your customer's experience, they can have an absolutely massive impact, for better or for worse. And it all comes down to this one powerful, often invisible idea: friction. I mean, that's the universal goal, right? It doesn't matter if you're selling shirts or selling houses. The dream is to build that loyalty, to create a relationship that goes way beyond a single transaction and turns a one-time buyer into a lifelong advocate.
So you're probably thinking loyalty is built with these grand gestures or big budget marketing campaigns. But what if I told you the real key is hiding in plain sight? That a single, frustrating moment can undo all of your hard work. Let me show you exactly what I mean. All right, let's dive into a story. It starts with a simple shopping trip, and it's a perfect real-world example of how quickly a great experience can turn sour, all because of one tiny, unnecessary point of friction. Okay, so picture this. My husband, he's excited, he's found a shirt he absolutely loves, and he's got these 2 rebate cards that are about to expire. He's not just willing to use them, he's ready to pay an extra $75 out of pocket because he wants the shirt that much. I mean, this sale is basically a done deal. So we've waited in line, we get up to the register, cards and wallet in hand. This is it. The final, easy step, the moment of truth where the store cashes in on a happy customer. But then, and there it is, 4 little words: store policy. A rule, probably created for some, internal reason, that completely ignores the customer's reality. And suddenly, this simple, happy transaction just hits a brick wall. And just like that, poof, the excitement is gone, replaced by frustration. The desire to buy is completely wiped out by a moment of unnecessary difficulty. He doesn't even argue. He just leaves. The sale is lost. And this, right here, is the crucial gap in perception. The store's register just sees avoided transaction, a loss of $75. But the real damage? Oh, it's so much deeper. They didn't just lose a sale. They lost a customer, probably forever. And even worse, they made him feel tricked and totally undervalued. That is the true, absolutely devastating cost of friction. This one little story, it perfectly illustrates a much wider problem. Let's give it a name. We'll call it the customer friction trap. Think about it. This happens all the time. Companies spend a fortune on promotions, on rebate cards, on airline points to get you in the door. They make a promise of value. But then, when it's time to actually use that value, we're suddenly faced with blackout dates, confusing rules, and impossible hurdles. It completely undermines the very trust they were trying to build in the first place. Okay, so let's actually put a name to this thing. What we're talking about is customer friction. And look, it's not just about having a bad experience. It's any unnecessary obstacle that makes a customer feel like they have to fight to get the value they were promised. It's the gap between the promise a company makes and the reality of the experience. So, the solution? Well, it's actually beautifully simple in concept. Stop making your customer do cartwheels. Your job is to clear the path, make it as easy, as smooth, and as seamless as humanly possible for your customer to achieve their goal. That's it. That's the mindset shift. Okay, so that's the problem. But what does the solution actually look like in practice? Let's switch gears and look at a fantastic real-world example from real estate that shows just how powerful removing friction can be. I love this analogy. Think about it. Buying your first home? It's terrifying. You're overwhelmed. You don't know the jargon, and you're so afraid of looking foolish. This emotional state is just a huge source of potential friction. A great agent recognizes this fear isn't a problem to be managed, but an opportunity to build real trust. So how does this agent get rid of that fear? Well, here's the key. Notice how every single one of these steps is proactive. None of this is about selling, it's all about reducing friction. They listen for the unspoken concerns, they demystify the entire process with a clear map before you even see a house, they give you a simple visual guide that create a totally safe space for all questions, and they proactively tell you what's coming next. They're constantly thinking one step ahead of your anxiety. And this right here, it just brilliantly nails the emotional outcome. Nobody wants to feel managed or pushed through a pipeline, but everyone wants to feel guided, supported, and cared for. That's the difference between a transaction and a real relationship. It's the feeling that someone is truly in your corner.
See, this isn't about drowning them in data or simplifying things so much that it's not helpful. It's about curation and timing. It's about anticipating their next question and answering it before they even have to ask. That's how you make a really complex process feel effortless.
All right, so we've seen a bad example and a great one. What's the big takeaway from all of this? It's not about buying some fancy new software or overhauling your entire business. It's actually much simpler and way more powerful than that.
Listen, you don't need a $1 million CRM or a complicated new system to solve this. Honestly, the most powerful tool you have is simple intention, a genuine, proactive intention to look at the entire experience from your customer's point of view and just ask, how can I make this easier, smoother, and better for them?
And that intention, that's what separates a business that's here today and gone tomorrow from a real legacy business. Because when you actively remove friction, you're not just selling a product or service, you're showing that you care. And care is the foundation of genuine, lasting trust.
So I'm going to leave you with this one question. What's that one small, unnecessary hurdle you can remove for your customers right now? What can you do tomorrow? Because that one tiny change, that might just be the thing that earns you a customer for life.